On the same day Trump landed from Beijing, Secretary of State Marco Rubio sat down with NBC News. His message was unambiguous. U.S. policy on the issue of Taiwan is unchanged as of today.
The point we hear them when they say this, we always respond by saying anything that would compel or force a change in what we have now would be problematic. And we would certainly, our policies on that have not changed. It's been pretty consistent across multiple presidential administrations and remains consistent now.
Those were his exact words, on camera, on the record. Trump told reporters on Air Force One something else entirely. The sale, he said, may or may not happen at all. Trump added he was not looking to travel 9,500 miles to fight a war. Both statements are on the public record. One of them is false.
Arms sales to do.
And what's his request?
We discussed the Taiwan, the whole thing with the arms sales was in great detail, actually. And I'll be making decisions.
What was his request?
But, I think the last thing we need right now is a war. That's 9,500 miles away. I think that's the last thing we need. We're doing very well.
Would the U.S. defend Taiwan if it came to it?
I don't want to say that. I'm not going to say that.
This is not a discretionary foreign policy call. Congress passed the Taiwan Relations Act in 1979 for a specific reason. President Carter had just normalized diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China. That meant formally recognizing Beijing and ending the formal defense treaty with Taipei. Congress responded. The result was the Taiwan Relations Act. Congress designed it to maintain arms sales and security commitments without requiring a formal treaty. The arms sale is not a policy preference. 47 years of U.S. law made it a requirement. The act specifically requires the United States to provide Taiwan with arms of a defensive nature. A second provision requires the U.S. to maintain capacity to resist any resort to force against Taiwan's security. Congress wrote these obligations into law precisely because Taiwan lost its formal treaty. When Trump called that package a negotiating chip, he was not describing flexible foreign policy. What came out of his mouth was a public admission that a statutory obligation was on the trading table. But the legal obligation is not the most alarming part of what the record shows. Not even close. The $14 billion package is not a future commitment. The drones, missiles, and coastal surveillance systems inside it are already under contract. State Department approval is the only requirement standing between Taiwan and that delivery. Taiwan's defense planners did not build their strategy around hope. The 2026 to 2028 deterrence posture assumed these weapons would arrive on schedule. The negotiating chip Trump described is sitting in inventory, awaiting a single signature. These weapons are already built. 23 million Taiwanese are watching whether the United States will honor its legal obligation. Every American treaty ally in the Indo-Pacific is watching the same thing. That is not a metaphor for diplomatic concern. The answer, when it comes, will determine something much larger than one arms sale. And what that means for every treaty ally watching this story is what we need to understand right now. But what this contradiction exposes about every American security commitment worldwide is the part that has not been reported. Japan watches this story and asks a question. If Taiwan's weapons can become a trade chip, what does any legally binding security commitment actually mean? South Korea asks that question about the 28,500 American troops stationed on its soil. The Philippines asks it about the Mutual Defense Treaty Washington reaffirmed in 2023. Poland asks it about every Article 5 commitment made since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022.
This is not a Taiwan story. Every treaty ally in the world understands that, and they are drawing their own conclusions right now. If that foundation is tradable, every allied defense ministry is doing the math right now, not in the abstract, in their defense budgets, their military postures, and every back-channel conversation with Beijing. And the decision window Trump described as a fairly short period is open right now. There is no arms sale approval on Trump's calendar. Trump has made no formal announcement. The Taiwan defense community and every allied intelligence service in the Indo-Pacific are watching the State Department for a signal. That signal has not come. When Trump said fairly short period, he did not define it. The next 72 hours of White House communication will tell every treaty ally how much their security guarantee is worth. What you just watched is the kind of analysis the record demands. The President and his Secretary of State gave the country opposite accounts of Taiwan's security on the same day. If that is the kind of intelligence you want more of, subscribe. Zero Static is here every day. We will be back tomorrow.